Let me see if I can share my screen. I think it's going to be this one. Bam. Okay. See if I can move this. I'll move this bar down here, and then I'll start this show. So before we get started, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to attend this webinar. And if you're interested in similar webinars, we have a webinar every Wednesday at 5:30 Central Standard Time, and we basically go over. It's a 4-week cycle, so we go over different areas in life for business, personal, and then at the end of those 4 weeks, we repeat those, but we add more stuff to those things every week, and it's a continuing webinar that we do. And if you're interested in more information on that, definitely let us know. I'll put a link below so you can sign up. I'll make sure my mic is right here. But anyway, let's get started. So let me go back here. So the intention of this webinar is to really present to you different ideas on how to go about starting a business, how to go about going to the next level in life, whether it be with your career, your family, your health, or whatever, to take it to the next level. A lot of times we feel stuck, and sometimes we're just trying to like find the right solution, right? We're stuck in this like rut, and we're like, man, I just need something. Hello? I just need something to wake me up. I need something to let me know that, hey, there's more stuff to growing. Trying to make sure my mic is working here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so a little bit about myself. And so my intention is really to see if you want to commit to meeting with us every Wednesday at 5:30 Central Standard Time, and committing to meeting every Wednesday at 5:30, and just learning about the different things to take it to the next level. Like I'll share with you, I'm an open book. I share everything that I've been through. I share everything that I'm going through. I share all the resources I have. I share all that stuff on these webinars. So a little bit about myself is, I started off in the auto body industry when I was 16 years old. And at the age of, at the age of 16, I had twin boys. So I had two twin boys at the age of 16. I wasn't very good in school, so I ended up dropping out shortly after that. I didn't grow up in the best environment. We weren't like living in a shack or anything, but my mom grew up as a single mom. You can see here in the photo that my dad took his life when I was very young, and so my mom went straight to work and pretty much wasn't able to do everything for the family. She was able to work, provide food. She gave us a nice home. We had a car, we had clothes, and so she was just trying to figure out life herself. And during that whole time, I was really exposed to a lot of different environments, and some of those environments weren't the best environments, but I managed to fall into the auto collision industry at a young age, and I stayed with it for a very long time. And so I started off as a body shop porter. I eventually learned how to do body work. I eventually learned how to paint. And for some reason, during that time, I was into like lowriders, and I didn't really have money to buy a lot of accessories. And someone had told me if I was to start a business, that I would be able to buy stuff, at a discounted rate. And if I buy it at a discounted rate, I can sell it for more. And so during the time, there was a gentleman that I worked with. He was his grandfather was actually the owner of the dealership. And I asked him, I said, how do you open a business? And he kind of gave me the groundwork on how to get a DBA license and all that stuff. So I was able to get a tax ID number, and I was able to buy stuff wholesale, and I was able to resell stuff, the basic business practice. And so that continued, right? So I learned how to, paint. I got into custom painting. I did custom painting for a very long time. I actually worked at several dealerships until I actually got fired at my last dealership because I was always late. I had very little self-discipline. I really didn't know a lot about myself. I didn't know a lot about my potential. I didn't know a lot about anything. I just knew that I had a job, and that I got paid to do body work, and got a commission, and that's all I knew. I was a typical guy. I would work Monday through Friday, uh, spend my check on Friday and Saturday, be broke on Sunday, and then come to work Monday, try to do the same thing. So I was living in this little cycle of never ever getting ahead. And it wasn't until being in business for myself as a collision shop, as a custom shop, and I was the main one doing like all the work. I was the technician. I would come in the morning. There's my picture right there. I would come in like that, dressed up like that, and raggedy shoes, uh, some work shorts, and I would get straight to work. I would just work from when I came in to night to midnight, sometimes later than that, weekends. And so I thought that's what owning a business was. I thought that, if I just work hard enough, that eventually something will happen. And so I was basically wishing something would happen. And during that whole time of me, working and trying to build something, I wasn't actually building anything. I didn't even lay a foundation. And so I went to a business seminar, and I got exposed to like the business talk. And what I mean by that is like, how do you start a business? How do you build a business? How do you create wealth? What is the difference between being rich and being wealthy? And so from that meeting, it set me off in a journey, right? So like if this is your first time watching a webinar about business, or how to grow a business, or how to go from a technician to a business owner, uh, it's very similar to like what I went through. Like I was introduced to something, it caught my interest because I knew that it was going to be something that was interesting. But also too, what really really sparked my interest was at the time that I was a technician, I had 4 kids. And so I had 4 kids. I was separated, and I asked myself, I said, hey, if something were to happen to me, like what would my legacy be? What would I leave behind? Like what did I build? uh and when I thought about it, it wasn't really very much. And it was kind of depressing because I had worked a long time, and I never really took the time to think about what was I actually building. And so from that moment on, I really transitioned to really develop myself and really understand how business worked, and how to advance, and how to get around the right people. And so this picture to the right over here is me attending a Rotary event, and I actually became a member of the Rotary Club and became president. And that district governor, very very prestigious positions within the Rotary. How I did that, I just showed up. And I just committed, and I wanted to learn. And I opened my mind, my heart, and it led me into some very blessed places. Also, I've had the opportunity of working with some of the best business coaches, uh, life coaches, in the world, and this picture above, it shows Brian Tracy, Tim Story. We have Coach Burt, Elena Cardone, Rafael Vargas, you know, Anthony Lally, uh, Sofia Castro, some great people that I've had the opportunity to really sit down with and really pick their brain on business and relationship and family and love and how to grow, as a person. And so I'm going to share a lot of that stuff here with you as well. Let's see what time we have here. I'm going to keep this webinar short, but I encourage you, if you have any questions, go ahead and you can ask questions. Also, in the comments, you can leave comments, and I'll reply to your comments if you're watching a replay on this. That wouldn't be a problem at all. But let's get started. So one of the things that I really learned with business is that I wasn't. I was living. I was really operating. Let me put this thing here. I was really operating. Uh, I was actually living check by check. So basically, what I did was I said, you know what? I want to open a shop. I want to open an auto shop. And so I opened a shop. I'm drawing a picture here. Let me draw a picture over here. It's going to be very, 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 very valuable stuff here. I'm going to try to do this here. So I opened a shop. It's the shop, right? I rented a shop. So I was renting the shop out. And so every morning I would come work here. And what I did was I said, I'm going to open a business. So what I did was I rented a building. I rented a building and I actually just worked. I I worked for myself and I was self-employed. Basically what I did, and I didn't realize this, was I just made myself a job. I just created a job for myself because I got a building. Uh, I showed up for work, so I had to do all the work. And then people would bring their cars. I would have to fix their cars. And so basically, I was a technician. I wasn't a business owner. I was just a technician. I created a job for myself. So what I did was I actually made it 10 times harder on myself because not only did I have to do the work, but I also had to figure out how I was going to manage this business. And that's where things got difficult because I would show up for work. I would work in this business. I would, try to earn as much money as I could, pay the rent, pay the bills, pay the all this stuff, and then I was left with the small amount every month. But yet I felt like I had a business, but I didn't actually have a business. I had a job, and so it wasn't until I decided to say, okay, what am I actually building? And so I actually wasn't building anything because I was never going to own this building. I was never going to grow my business because my mindset wasn't in the right place. And so I did this cycle for a long time. I did this, I lived in this like rut for a long time. And yes, you know, I might have made money during this time, but whenever I committed to being a technician, I neglected all the areas of my life. And so I neglected my health, finances, spiritual health, relationships, you know, finances. Like I neglected all those seven areas that needed attention. Relationships, like uh, I neglected all that, and because I neglected all that, I was heading for a road like a disaster. Like I was heading down a dead end road eventually. And so how did things change? So things started to change when I decided and I learned. So I decided that I was gonna seek out information. I decided I was gonna seek out how to be a better business owner. What is a business owner? Like I didn't even know what a business owner was. I thought I was a business owner, but what it was, I was actually a technician. Okay, there's three levels that you must transition through. It's gonna be the T, the M, the O. Okay, so these are the three areas that you're gonna have to transition from. You're gonna have to go here, and you're gonna have to go from here to here. Okay. So let me tell you what this means. So the T stands for technician. So most business owners fail, in my opinion, because they stay stuck in this position right here. They stay stuck in a mindset. A technician mindset is the one that knows how to just do the work. Like they know how to fix the things. They know how to make the things. Okay. And so most people think about it. If you worked, like, let's say you worked, you're a body man, you're a technician, you're a mechanic, you're actually a technician, right? That's why they say you're a technician. You do the technical work, right? So you open a business and you know how to do the technician work. You know how to fix the cars. You know how that work is done, but you do not know how to manage. Okay. And so what happens is you spend 90% of your time doing technician work, and you only spend about maybe 5% doing management, and you spend 5%. This is owner work. So there's technician, manager, and owner work. So look, you have, and most people don't ever transition to owner because they stay stuck right here. They stay stuck right here. And the way you will notice this is if you worked at a dealership or you worked for someone for many years and you wore like a technician outfit, like a uniform, and now you're a business owner, but you still wear a technician outfit, you're still in the technician mindset. You're still in that technician mindset. And if you notice, like, stop for a second and think about how a technician dresses, how does a manager dress, and how does an owner dress? You understand? These are different characters right here. And so in order to go from technician to manager, you have to commit some time to understand what a manager does. Just like you have these technician skills, just like you know how things how to fix things, you got to know how to manage a business, how to manage people, how to manage money, how to manage clients. And so you have to develop those skills. Just like you develop the skills to be a good technician, you have to develop the skills to be a manager. And there's actually a lot of skills to be a manager. You got to deal with different people's personality. How are you going to hire people? How are you going to fire people? How are you going to grow your team? How do you keep your team motivated? How do you build a culture? Like, these are all things that a technician needs to know if they're going to transition. But then as you develop these skills, then you have to be an owner. What does the owner do? The owner focuses on the vision. The owner focuses on the next big marketing strategy. How are we gonna, grow our business? How are we gonna dominate the market? How are we gonna put our competition out of business? How are we gonna build our team? How fast do we want to grow? How are we gonna leverage our assets? How are we gonna build, our business credit? How are we gonna structure our business? How are we going to do that? How are we going to use the resources that we make to grow our business? So these are all things that an owner has to work on. So there's work to be done in each area. Most people think that oh, once you become a business owner, you don't have to do work, but the owner has a lot of responsibility, because the owner now has responsibility of everybody on his team to make sure that he makes the right decision to move the needle forward. And so that takes a commitment. That takes a commitment uh, to yourself and to your business. So I like to use this little graph here on how you can structure to start to build yourself, right? Most people want to open a business. They're not sure where to start. You know, they might want to. I mean, some people can decide to go all in. I'm all in on my business. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to make it work. Mic check. Okay. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to make it work. And they put everything into their business, and they're just banking that it works out. They're just banking that it works out. And the reason why most businesses fail, in my opinion, is because they don't have a financial foundation set up. And the way that's going to happen, this is a very cool thing. So look, the first step is going to be to eliminate any high interest short term debt, like debt, any high interest debt that you're going to eliminate. Start knocking down some of that debt. And basically, what this is going to do is this is gonna position you to make a move. And so this is gonna help you build some confidence. This is gonna help you build some wealth. So whenever you decide to make a move, you have something to back you up a little bit. So look, any high interest debt, short term debt, if you could pay that down as quick as possible, pay it off. Get rid of that debt. Just get it out of the way, and so you can use that money to start to build up over here in these areas. So these areas are going to be, you want to make sure you have 1 month of expenses covered. This is going to be one account, right? So in one account, you're going to make sure you have a month of expenses covered. And so you want to try to put this money in an interest bearing account, something that's going to have a higher interest rate than a typical savings. And there's a lot of different options out there. You might even want to, I'm not a financial advisor. You might want to just like Google high interest savings accounts and see what comes up. I know that American Express has a savings account. There's a lot of resources out there that have they have a higher interest bearing interest rate account for savings account. So you want to have one account with 1 month, and then you want to have another account with 3 to 6 months in there. These are going to be reserves. Right? You want to have another account that's going to be for major purchases, right? So if you're saving up to buy, some furniture, if you're saving up to buy automobile, you want to stack some money in this high interest account also, so that it doesn't take a big hit whenever you decide to go buy a vehicle. For example, if you're saving, like, think about it, if you're saving up to buy a car, you can stack it in here, and then whenever you get the money, you can go buy the car without having to pay the interest on it, right? That's if you want to avoid higher interest rate or anything like that. The next fund account, this is going to be an account. So like, these are levels. So you're going to pay off this first. Let me see if I can do this. You're going to pay off any of this high interest accounts first. Then you're going to build up 1 month reserve. Okay. Whenever you build up that 1 month reserve, transfer that amount to this account so that this can start building up too. And once you have a 3 to 6 month reserve, then you can start to save up for major purchases like a car, furniture, maybe like a trip or something. Anything that's like a major purchase that you don't want to take a hit on it, you can start to save in this. Let's say, for example, you say, you know what, I don't have any major purchases right now, but we would like to go on a trip or something. You could put some money in here, but this is going to be where it gets fun, right? Because once you build these up, then you can start to say, okay, what is going to be my investment? What is going to be my retirement? How do I want to retire? And so most people bank on the 401k. And I'll give y'all some crazy things here, but Let me see if I can bring up a calculator. I want you to do the math on this. Check this out. So let's just say I have my calculator out here. Let's just say you work somewhere for 30 years and you retire with 250,000. So that's 250,000 divided by 30. So that's $8,000 a year divided by 12. That's $694 a month. What does that mean? That means that you're building your wealth at $694 a month because you have it in a 401k. So you're banking on that 401k to leave your retirement. Well, what the problem is as we get older, the buying power is not there anymore. So for example, if you were able to buy, like look right now. So if you retire today with $200,000, how long is that gonna last you? It's not gonna last you. It's gonna last you probably like 2 years. It's not gonna last you very long. So we got to figure out a different strategy. How can we build wealth faster? And so one of the ways to do that is going to be through real estate, because real estate increases in value and real estate is wealth, right? The way real estate works, I can break it down for you right here real quick. So let's just say, so let me share something really quick with net worth, because we hear like net worth. What is your net worth? Like we've probably heard that term, and I think everybody could take some time and really figure out what their net worth is. And so the way that you do that is you take everything that you owe. Well, first of all, you take everything that you own, right? And let's just say everything that you own, everything that can I mark? Okay. Say everything that you own, you sold everything that you own, right? Mic check. Okay. Say you sell everything that you own. And so let's just say you have a dollar amount, right? But then now let's just say, for example, like let's just say 100,000, right? Let's just say everything you sell, you get $100,000 because you sell everything, right? Everything you own, you just have to sell it. And remember, everything that you own, you can't sell it for what you bought it for. It's not worth the same as what you bought it for. So you're gonna have to sell it for less. So you have to sell everything that you own. Now you have that money, but now you have to pay off everything that you owe. So you sold everything that you own. Now you gotta pay back everything that you owe, and that's like debt, any kind of debt or whatever. So whatever you're left with is your net, your net wealth. So that's what you're worth, your net worth. That's what your net worth is. And so if you do the math, you might come up with a negative net worth. So you might say, hey, Stan, you know what? If I sell everything that I have, I'm left with 100,000. But when I pay off everything, it's minus 20,000. So that means your net worth is negative 20,000. And that's a eye opener test, because most people don't take the time to figure out their net worth. They think that it's because they own a lot of stuff that it's worth money, right? So jet skis and boats and all this, crazy stuff. I mean, it doesn't go up in value, it just goes down. So one of the easiest things to get into is real estate, because the way real estate works, let's just say you buy a house today for 100,000, and look at the market today. Like the market just is up. So that means, like, let's say you buy the house for 100,000. Let's just do this. Let me show you something here. See if I can write here. So there's a big kind of back and forth argument on a single family home, right? And so basically, like it's kind of true, because let's say most people say like your house is your biggest asset, right? But in reality, like it's not really your biggest asset because it costs money to maintain it, you know, and so you like if you say, you know what, like most people are like their American dream is to buy a house, right? And they're like, oh well, my house is my wealth, but like you have to live somewhere, so it's not really making you income. You're actually paying money every month to maintain it, and so it's like on the fence between an asset and liability. So you have to be very cautious of that. There's nothing wrong with like getting into property if you know that eventually you're gonna probably rent it out, or you're gonna hold it for the long term. For example, like myself, uh, we own a property, we own a house, but we live in an apartment and we rent our house out. You know, and so that's the way I see it. I mean, but not everybody's the same. Some people might, want to get a house for their family or whatever, but that might be the first thing. If your main thing is to say, you know what, I want to make sure my family's safe, then I mean, it's going to be to buy a house. Like to buy a house, that's going to be your homestead, and then now you can go out and figure out how you're going to get into real estate investing and opening a business. And so, I hope I'm not losing y'all here. This is a lot of information. But okay, so the way the real estate works as far as like building wealth is it's appreciation. So if you buy a house for 100,000, and let's just say in 2 years it goes up to 150, it's worth 150. So your wealth increased it by your net worth increased by 50,000. So your net worth increased by 50,000. And that I mean that can happen in 1 year, 2 years. But remember back to our math. On a 401k, your wealth was only growing at like $8,000 a year. So that's why I'm saying real estate is an option to grow some wealth fast, to grow some wealth and to have a net worth. The other option is, so once you say, okay, you know what, Stan, I'm going to pay off my debt. I'm going to get some reserves for 2 to 6 months reserves. If I have any major purchase, I'm going to make an account for that, and I'm just going to fund that account till I have the money to help me with the major purchase, whether it be a car down payment, or you can say, you know what, I'm gonna drop some cash in this account, and whenever it builds up, then I'm gonna be in a position to make a down payment on a real estate property, or buy your first home, right? I mean, the cool thing with the first time, whenever it's your first home purchase, you don't have to put as much money down. The mistake that people make is they don't negotiate on their first purchase. So for example, most people when they get approved for a house, they're so excited, they don't want to negotiate with the seller. One way to grow some wealth is, let's say for example, look, let's say for example, you get approved for a house, like you get approved for $100,000 loan, right, to buy a house. And I'm just using basic numbers here. It can be, 250,000, 300,000, whatever. I'm just using basic. So let's just say you get approved for $100,000 loan, right? Well, if it's your first time, you're only required to put 5 to 3% down. So out of the 100,000, that's 3 grand, right? That's not even a lot. Let's see what 25% is. So typically, this is the way it works. Whenever you're going to buy your first home, you typically have to put 3 to 5% down, right? So if you get approved for 100,000, you probably only have to put 5,000 down or 3,000 down. Somewhere it's not very much. Okay. The mistake that most people make is they get approved for $100,000 and they go and buy a house for $100,000 that's listed for $100,000. They go buy a house that's listed for $100,000, right? So the only equity they have, the only wealth they built was the money that they put down. So look, for example, like let's say they get approved for $100,000, right? Well, now they got to put 5,000 down, right? So now they owe 95,000 for the house. Okay, and let's just say they want to sell that house. You know, they want to sell the house. They're only going to get their 5K back. So they only have $5,000 in equity. So they're let's just say their net worth is zero. Now they only have 5 grand in equity. They only have 5 grand net worth. You see how it works? But let's just say they get approved for $100,000, and they say, you know what? Let's go out and let's see if we can negotiate, and let's see if we can buy $150,000 house with 500 with for 100,000. So they negotiate with the seller and says, hey, you know what? We want to buy your house. I know it's been on the market for 90 days. We're willing to make an offer for $100,000 on that house. And what's the worst they can say? They can say no, right? But what if they say yes? What if they say, you know what? We just want to get out of this house, man. If you have $100,000, go ahead and take it. And so you bought a house that's worth 150,000 for 100,000. So now what is your net worth? Off that one move, that's 55,000, because you had to put the 5 grand down, but now you bought that house that's worth 150 for 100. So now your net worth is $55,000 on that one move. So now you just so remember, if you're relying on your 401k to come through, I mean, you want to be more in control of how you're gonna grow that. Okay. The other thing about the business, right? Because that's the main thing of this webinar is to start the business. Let's say you say, you know what, Stan, I want to open a business. The business, if you take the time to really focus on your business can build you wealth. Because see what the business does, the business becomes a vehicle. Put some wheels on this. So this vehicle, it becomes a vehicle. And so this is the starting point, A, B. So what your business does, when you commit to growing your business and understanding the business, this becomes a vehicle, a cash machine vehicle. So just imagine, like, let's say you focus on your business and you say, okay, I want to build my business up. I want to go through the transition. I want to understand how the business works. Now you built this vehicle. It's a cash machine vehicle. And so this vehicle is dropping cash, right? It's dropping cash. So now what you did was you got more control of your time. You got more control of your energy, because if you work, I mean, you can only work so many, like, exchange dollars. What is it? Exchange dollars for hours. You can only work so many hours, like hourly, before you can only work so many hours, you can only be on the clock so long. But if you create your own vehicle, now you know how to use your energy to maximize your time, to make the most. Because if you can speed this thing up, then these are going to feel a lot faster. And so now you have more leverage to make these other decisions, right? So let's just say you have a job right now, you're a technician, you're working somewhere hourly, and you want to build a business. Okay, start by knocking this out first. Knock this out first. Start by building this up. Because you might get up here, and you might have a different perspective on what you want to do. Because see, you can actually invest in real estate, or you can invest in someone else's business. So let's just say you have a job, or you have a career, and you're like, man, you know what? I'm really good at my career. I really make money. I want to open a business, but I'm not sure. you're kind of on the fence with that, start by doing this. And then when you get up here, you'll have money to decide what you want to do. You can even say, you know what, I want to start a business. I want to get a business partner. I want to open a business, and I'm going to fund the business, but they're going to run it. So you're still a business owner. Or you say, you know what, Stan, before I open a business, I want to get some real estate, because this real estate is guaranteed wealth. It's guaranteed cash flow. I'm going to make some money off of this, because see, this is a risk. Business is numbers, and it's problem solving, and it's there's not a guarantee on it. Like there's not a guarantee on a business. There's not. You have to be very committed, and you have to be very disciplined to make this grow into something great. And real estate is going to be easier for you to get into, because look, most people say, you know what, I'm going to go from here. They can go, they want to go from here to here. Okay. And so what happens is they start this business, and then they run into roadblocks, because now no banks want to lend them money. No banks want to fool around with them. No banks want to give them business credit, because they've never built, they never built none of this. They have no assets. This is all assets. So if you have money in an account right here, 3 to 6 months, or if you have account, like if you have a 20K in here, that's assets. So now if you open a business, the bank's gonna say, what assets do you have? Well, I have this asset. I have this property here. That's an asset. So now the business becomes fun, because now you have more resources to grow that business. And so I hope that made sense. And if y'all have any questions, please ask any questions. And y'all can actually email me too, or leave a comment. I'm going to post this on YouTube. Make sure that if y'all have any questions, you can leave comments there. You can also find me on Instagram, the Stan Medina, also on Facebook. And I do reply to messages. So if you message me about something, uh, we'll definitely connect. Uh, I want to present something to y'all to see if y'all are interested in this. But every Wednesday we meet at 5:30, and so it's actually free. The webinars are free. The real value comes whenever I send you the assessment. So I have some different people that I work with, and they have assessments online, and it actually gets deeper into understanding your strengths, understanding how your mind works, and that's $97. So it's $97. I'll send you the assessments. We'll actually get on a one-on-one call, and we can actually schedule one-on-one call sessions. That's for $97. I have a massive action principles binder that we have. It's 195, I think. It's 195, I think. But this is a very, very powerful tool. This would definitely. I'm gonna see if I can share my screen on this. Let's see. Let me see if I can share my screen on this. So about that. It's right here. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna share my screen again. Where is it at? Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is actually the workbook that we'll send you, and this has a breakdown. I mean, this thing is awesome because what it does, it actually it's to help you commit to what you want to accomplish, and this is going to be very very helpful. Like this is going to be a very powerful growth tool. So not only will you get the assessments with that, but I'll also send you the binder. And this binder, has a bunch of series of questions, and we go through step by step on how to get clear on the direction and the vision, and to break all this stuff down. It's a series of different things that I share with you. And basically, what ends up happening is you start to transition into this you know this owner manager, and out of the technician mindset, and um, you become very observant of your decision making. You become very observant of the way that you see things, right? So it's almost like as if you transition from a judger mindset to a learner mindset. And I shared that on a previous webinar. I'm going to share it for you again. Let me see if I can bring that up. So let me show you what that means. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. Hmm. Oh, here it is. It's not the one I'm going to show you, but this, oh, there it is. So look, guys, let me go to these slideshows real quick. This is how it works. Look, there's going to be two mindsets, and so if you get a chance, go ahead and get this book. So it's a powerful book, but we typically stay stuck in these two mindsets, and most times most people will stay stuck in this judger mindset. And if you look at the judger mindset, you'll see kind of how it kind of plays out, right? So look, someone with the judger mindset, uh, they're always blaming them. Like they're saying, why am I such a failure? You know, uh, why are they so stupid? Why bother? Like they have like this almost like a negative mindset, and so it actually leads them down this road of just like a mess, you know. Uh, so a lot of times, this is some other questions. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with them? And so they have this like almost they're judging people all the time. They're judging themselves, and so a learner mindset is always seeking to find out what happened. What happened. Uh, what do I want? For both myself and others. What can I learn from this? What assumptions am I making? What are the facts? What are they thinking? Feeling or wanting? And so these will actually open your mind up to a very very productive and healthy, mindset and environment. The hockey stick strategy is also something that's very powerful too, because you know things don't happen fast, but when they start to happen, they're gonna happen fast. And what I mean by that is like, you know, for example, let's just say you start working out, and you start, these are like months, right? You're not gonna see any results for a while, but then when you start to see the results, your body's gonna transition fast. Your health, your energy is gonna increase. And so it's the same thing that goes with personal growth and like building a business, building up wealth. Is it's not gonna happen, overnight, but as you start to get the momentum going, you're really going to start to see some things change, and you're really going to be happy with the results that you're actually creating yourself. Nice, guys. So hey guys, thank y'all for watching. If you get a chance, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave a few comments, let me know what your thoughts are, and if you're interested in signing up for the weekly webinar, and or if you're signing up for the booklet, let me know if you're interested in that booklet. Like I said, the booklet is, I want to say it's $9.95. The webinar is $97, and that's for a 4-week one-time fee. It's not every month; it's one-time fee. I'll send you the assessments. You're able to join in every week. You're able to ask questions. You're able to connect with me one-on-one directly, and get deeper into some questions, or some issues that you're having with your business, or your growth process. I could say that, the technicians and the people that I've actually worked with that's actually committed, and we've been able to get on a call. Uh, Man, they've had some amazing transformations in self discovery, that they've made up with themselves, just based off of the information that I've shared here. It's actually gave them a direction, and it's gave them some light to say, hey man, you know what? Maybe I am capable of achieving some greater things, and you just got to get the right information, get around the right people. And like I said, I wouldn't be sharing anything that I'm not practicing. So I don't, I like to practice what I preach, and I like to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered, and we keep going. So hey guys, if y'all are interested, I'll see y'all tomorrow Wednesday, 5:30 Central Standard Time, every Wednesday. If you're interested in the link, you can go to stanmedina.com. That's our website. And if you look, you'll see where it says webinar Zoom. You can sign up there. But I definitely want to see you there. And I guarantee it's going to change the way you see the world. It's going to change the way you see your health, your family, and your future. Later, guys.